Did you know that the Indonesian archipelago sits on one of the most volatile geological zones on our planet? This region, known as the Pacific Ring of Fire, is a place where breathtaking beauty and immense danger live side. Here, towering mountains rise from deep ocean trenches, forged by the violent collision of tectonic plates. For the millions of people who call this place home, the constant threat of earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis isn't just a possibility, it's a fundamental part of life. The very ground beneath their feet is always shifting, grinding, and releasing unimaginable energy. This natural tension defines Indonesia more profoundly than any map ever could. So, what exactly is happening under the surface? Indonesia is the meeting point for several massive tectonic plates, all in a state of continuous fierce collision. The Indo-Australian plate is relentlessly sliding, or subducting, beneath the Eurasian plate, creating immense pressure that drives superheated magma toward the Earth's surface. As this molten rock rises, it fuels the creation of volcanoes, which now dominate Indonesia's dramatic skyline. With over 130 active volcanoes, Indonesia has more than any other nation on Earth. These fiery mountains are a double-edged sword. They are a source of sudden destruction, but also of incredibly fertile, life-giving soil. It's why so many communities flourish in their shadows, fully aware that an eruption could happen at any moment. To truly understand Indonesia, you have to understand the ancient, titanic power that lies just beneath it. This geological story began millions of years ago, long before any human civilization walked these islands. The same tectonic movements that created the island arcs of Sumatra, Java, and Bali are still at work today, constantly shaping new mountains and destroying old ones. In Indonesia, the Earth feels alive in a way that is rarely seen anywhere else on our planet. Every small tremor is a reminder that the land is still being built, and every plume of volcanic smoke is a signal of the deep, relentless forces sculpting the world. This raw, creative power results in some of the most awe-inspiring landscapes you can imagine. But this beauty comes with devastating consequences for the people who live here. Indonesia experiences thousands of earthquakes every single year. While most are too small to feel, others unleash catastrophic energy, powerful enough to erase entire communities in an instant. The quakes in this region are often shallow, which makes them especially dangerous for cities built on the surface. When the friction between tectonic plates suddenly gives way, the ground can shake violently for what feels like an eternity. Buildings crumble, bridges collapse, and vital infrastructure fractures under the immense strain. And for communities living along the coast, the danger doesn't end when the shaking stops. These quakes can trigger massive tsunamis that strike the shore with terrifying speed and little warning. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami remains the deadliest modern example of this terrifying potential. Originating off the western coast of Sumatra, the quake unleashed one of the worst natural disasters in recorded history. A colossal wave radiated across the ocean, claiming more than 230,000 lives across multiple countries. Indonesia suffered the heaviest toll, with entire coastal towns and villages swept away in moments. That single tragedy was a stark reminder of how profoundly the Ring of Fire shapes Indonesia as destiny. For the survivors, the land and the sea would never feel the same again. Nature here is mesmerizingly beautiful, but it is also unforgiving, demanding respect with every powerful awakening. Beyond earthquakes, Indonesia's volcanoes pose another constant, life-shaping threat. Take Mount Merapi, for instance, one of the world's most active and dangerous volcanoes. It erupts frequently and violently, sending pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of ash, gas, and rock racing down its slopes at terrifying speeds, destroying everything in their path. And yet, the communities near Merapi always rebuild. They accept the risk as an inseparable part of their environment. To them, the volcano is both a protector and a destroyer, a force to be feared but also deeply respected. This complex relationship between people and volcanoes is at the very heart of Indonesia's geological identity. Life literally grows from the volcanic ash, even as that same ash threatens to take lives with deadly unpredictability. Another towering threat is Mount Sinabung in North Sumatra. After being silent for centuries, it suddenly roared back to life, forcing tens of thousands of people to flee their homes and farmlands. Entire families had to leave behind generations of memories carved into the villages on the mountainside. These sudden eruptions are a powerful reminder that the Ring of Fire does operate on a human timeline. A mountain that has been dormant for hundreds of years can awaken in an instant, forever altering the lives of everyone around it. In Indonesia, stability is never a guarantee when the earth itself remains so restless. This constant tension has profoundly shaped the culture, the beliefs, and the incredible resilience of its communities. But Indonesians don't just endure these powerful forces, they have learned to adapt with remarkable ingenuity. Traditional architecture in many regions shows a deep, embedded awareness of seismic activity. ULLC, stilted wooden homes designed to sway with the ground's movement instead of rigidly resisting it. Communities have developed detailed evacuation routes, early warning systems, and a shared, local knowledge of safe zones. Crucially, this knowledge is passed down through stories, from one generation to the next, teaching younger people how to react during a disaster. This oral tradition is a vital survival tool when confronting the Earth's unpredictable power. In this part of the world, knowledge is just as important as bravery. This geological volatility also creates some of the most remarkable natural wonders you will ever see. The archipelago is dotted with stunning turquoise crater lakes, steaming fumaroles, and otherworldly, sulfur-rich plains that attract explorers from all over the globe. At destinations like Kawah Ijan, you can witness the surreal phenomenon of blue flames, which are actually burning volcanic gases glowing in the night. The vast, sand-filled caldera of Mount Bromo looks like a landscape from another planet, forged in fire and smoke. These surreal environments draw countless tourists who come to experience Indonesia's dramatic natural beauty. But behind every single breathtaking view lies a powerful reminder of the immense forces churning just beneath the surface. Here, beauty and danger are two sides of the same coin. The rivers in these volcanic regions carry nutrient-rich sediments down to the fertile farmlands below. This incredibly rich soil supports dense agriculture, feeding millions of people across Indonesia's most populated islands. While volcanic ash is destructive during an eruption, it enriches the land for generations to come. Farmers depend on this natural cycle of destruction and renewal, accepting the inherent risk for the incredible reward it brings. Indonesia volcanoes aren't just threats. They are vital partners in Indonesia's survival. The nation thrives, in large part, because this constant volcanic activity sustains its incredibly fertile landscapes. Life, destruction, and renewal are woven together in a cycle that is unique to this restless part of the world. Indonesia's position on the Ring of Fire is truly both a blessing and a curse. It has been gifted with breathtaking landscapes, incredible biodiversity, and a robust agricultural potential that supports its large population. But it also exposes millions of its people to disasters capable of reshaping entire communities overnight. This duality defines the very soul of Indonesia. It is a nation that is at once fragile and resilient, constantly threatened yet always thriving. To live here means accepting nature's volatility not as an enemy, but simply as a reality. The people adapt, they rebuild, and they carry on, despite knowing that danger can return at any time. Their incredible spirit reflects a deep, powerful connection to the land's dramatic geological rhythm. To understand Indonesia, you have to acknowledge this long, ongoing coexistence between humans and the earth. They are in a constant negotiation for space, with each shaping the other in profound ways. The land moves, it erupts, it shakes, and it transforms, while the people rebuild and carry on, time and time again. This relationship is perpetual, and it's written across Indonesia's entire landscape. In this remarkable place, the earth speaks loudly, and its voice shapes everything and everyone around it. Every tremor, every eruption, and every plume of ash tells a powerful story, a story of survival, adaptation, and life on the very edge of creation itself. Thank you so much for watching. If you found the story of Indonesia and the Ring of Fire fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into our amazing world. See you next time. Across Indonesia's sprawling islands, the Ring of Fire's power shapes identity profoundly. Communities learn early that danger is not distant, but part of everyday thought. Children grow up hearing stories of eruptions, tsunamis, and land that shakes violently. These stories are not myths, but inherited memories passed through generations carefully. They remind families that survival depends on respecting the land's unpredictable nature. For Indonesians, disaster awareness is not optional, it's a deeply rooted tradition. The land teaches lessons constantly, spoken through tremors and rivers of ash. In many rural regions, elders share knowledge of ancient eruptions with younger listeners. They recount mountains that once erupted with unimaginable force centuries earlier. Even without written records, communities remember through storytelling and cultural rituals. These oral histories serve as a survival guide when official warnings might fail. When the earth speaks suddenly, instinct and inherited wisdom often come first. This cultural response reveals how closely Indonesians live with geological volatility daily. They know that nature does not negotiate, but awareness increases their chance of survival. Indonesia's seismic landscape has influenced its architecture for centuries profoundly. Traditional houses in many regions were designed to withstand powerful ground movement. In West Sumatra, the Ramagadang uses flexible wooden joints that bend safely. In Sulawesi, the Tunkunan stands raised above ground, reducing collapse risk during quakes. Such structures reflect generations of adaptation to the Ring of Fire's challenges. Their architects understood that resisting nature was futile, but working with it essential. Modern engineers still study these designs to improve today's earthquake-resistant buildings. Despite technological advancements, large Indonesian cities remain vulnerable to seismic threats. Urban centers like Jakarta, Surabaya, and Bandung sit near active fault lines. Millions of people live in densely packed areas filled with aging infrastructure. A strong earthquake in these regions could trigger major structural collapse instantly. Scientists warn that Indonesia must strengthen building codes to prepare effectively. The population continues to grow rapidly while geological hazards remain extremely active. The challenge is enormous. Modernize infrastructure before the next major quake strikes. Beyond earthquakes and eruptions, Indonesia faces the persistent danger of tsunamis regularly. The archipelago's long coastlines open directly toward active subduction zones offshore. When the seafloor shifts suddenly, massive waves can form and travel inland. These waves move with astonishing speed, giving coastal communities little time to react. Even small offshore quakes can generate localized tsunamis that prove devastating. Villages near beaches often rely on natural signs rather than official alerts. Receding water, unusual currents, or strange animal behavior can signal imminent danger. Indonesia has worked to improve its tsunami early warning system since 2004 dramatically. Dozens of sensors, buoys, and sirens now monitor ocean activity for sudden shifts, but maintaining these systems across a vast archipelago remains incredibly difficult today. Strong currents, vandalism, and storms often damage or disable critical monitoring equipment. Scientists urge continuous investment to ensure Indonesia stays prepared for future events. Technology must evolve alongside the nation's growing exposure to natural disasters. Warning systems save lives, but only if they remain functional when needed most. Yet even with advanced monitoring, predicting volcanic eruptions remains extremely challenging. Each volcano behaves uniquely, with its own personality, rhythm, and eruption pattern. Some produce small ash plumes for years before suddenly exploding violently without warning. Others stay silent for centuries before awakening with catastrophic force unexpectedly. Volcanologists observe tremors, gas emissions, and crater temperatures for potential clues. But the Earth still holds mysteries far beyond human prediction or control. Indonesia understands this uncertainty more intimately than most nations on Earth. Mount Stembra's legendary eruption in 1815 stands as proof of nature's overwhelming strength. It remains the most powerful volcanic eruption ever recorded in human history. Stembra's explosion ejected enormous ash clouds high into the upper atmosphere. The eruption darkened skies worldwide, causing global climate cooling and crop failure. The year 1816 became known as the year without summer across several continents. This global impact shows how a single Indonesian volcano can influence the entire planet. It also reminds Indonesians that their mountains are forces of global significance. Even today, the legacy of Tambora persists in the region's geography and culture. The explosion left behind a massive caldera stretching several kilometers across. Villages once thriving on Tambora's slopes were buried beneath layers of ash. Archaeologists called the remains the Pompeii of the East, frozen in volcanic time. These ruins offer haunting insight into how sudden and brutal eruptions can be. Tambora is a silent witness to humanity's fragile existence near explosive volcanoes. Its story lives on as a warning for generations living on the Ring of Fire. Another formidable threat is the Sunda megathrust lying beneath western Indonesia's seas. This massive fault line is capable of producing colossal earthquakes and tsunamis. Scientists believe large sections of the megathrust remain locked with immense pressure. When such pressure releases, the resulting quake could rival past catastrophic events. The region's dense population magnifies the potential impact significantly and dangerously. Preparedness becomes essential, as disaster could strike without any noticeable warning. Communities must be equipped with knowledge, drills, and early evacuation strategies. Indonesia's relationship with the Ring of Fire is not purely defined by risk. The volcanic soil enriches farmlands, supporting lush crops that feed millions. Mineral-rich landscapes create economic opportunities for mining and geothermal energy. Indonesia possesses immense geothermal potential due to its volcanic nature specifically. This energy source offers clean, renewable power for the country's growing population. Volcanoes thus contribute not only danger, but vital resources for national development. Living with them means balancing risk, opportunity, fear, and appreciation simultaneously. From Sumatra to Papua, landscapes shaped by fire host incredible biodiversity today. Dense rainforests thrive on volcanic slopes filled with unique plants and animals. Island ecosystems evolve distinct species due to isolated volcanic land formation. Komodo dragons, unique birds, and rare orchids find homes across these fiery lands. Volcanic islands create natural laboratories for studying evolution and ecological change. The Ring of Fire thus supports both destructive and life-giving forces harmoniously. Its instability fosters some of Earth's most vibrant ecosystems found anywhere. But the human cost of this geological environment remains impossible to ignore. Entire towns have been lost to eruptions, lahars, pyroclastic flows, and tsunamis. Families displaced by volcanic activity sometimes never return to their ancestral homes. Earthquakes destroyed decades of development within minutes, leaving deep trauma behind. Survivors rebuild because they must, carrying both resilience and sorrow together. Their spirit reflects Indonesia's enduring ability to rise after each disaster. Strength here is not just physical, it is cultural, emotional, and generational. In Indonesia, the Ring of Fire is more than a scientific term or geographic label. It is a living reality that affects daily life, culture, identity, and decisions. It shapes where people build homes, plant crops, and raise their families proudly. It influences migration patterns, economic strategies, and government preparedness policies. This dynamic landscape demands constant respect and awareness from those who inhabit it. People must remain vigilant, yet courageously rooted in the land they cherish deeply. Indonesia survives and thrives because its people adapt to nature's powerful rhythm. Across the Indonesian archipelago, countless communities live in the shadow of volcanoes daily. These mountains dominate their skylines, shaping local traditions, myths, and cultural identity. Volcanoes are not merely geological features, they are living symbols with deep spiritual meaning. In many regions, people believe the mountains possess guardians or ancestral spirits. Offerings are made during festivals to honor these forces and seek continued protection. Such rituals reflect the intertwined relationship between humans and their volatile environment. Life here is shaped as much by belief as by science and observation. In Java, ceremonies at Mount Merapi reveal a profound cultural connection to danger. Each year, villagers participate in ancient rituals acknowledging Merapi's unpredictable power. The Jurukunci or gatekeeper historically served as spiritual mediator and protector. He guided local beliefs, warning communities when he sensed Merapi's mood shifting. Though modern volcanology now dominates, the cultural role remains highly respected locally. This blend of spirituality and science reflects Indonesia's unique approach to natural threats. Both traditions coexist, forming a deeper understanding of the mountain's complex rhythms. Further east, Bali's Mount Agang stands as another sacred peak revered by millions. Balinese Hinduism places Agan at the spiritual center of the island's cosmology. Temples near its base hold ceremonies to maintain harmony between humans and nature. When Agang erupted in 2017, thousands evacuated but still performed devotional rituals. They sought calm through prayer, acknowledging nature's authority while embracing resilience. In Indonesia, spirituality often becomes a source of strength during geological crises. Faith provides meaning where science reveals how limited human control truly is. These cultural expressions show how Indonesians adapt emotionally to geological uncertainty. Fear becomes manageable when balanced with traditions offering guidance and collective unity. Communities find purpose in rituals that connect them to their ancestral landscapes. This connection helps people rebuild their lives after disasters, claim homes or loved ones. Resilience here is passed down not only as skill, but as identity. Survival is embedded deeply into local customs, shaping the region's collective memory. In Indonesia, culture is a survival mechanism forged by centuries of living with fire. Yet even with deep cultural resilience, the physical dangers remain extraordinarily real. Volcanic ash clouds can spread across regions, disrupting daily life for millions. Ash particles contaminate water, destroy crops, and severely affect respiratory health. Flights are often grounded for safety when ash rises into the atmosphere. A single eruption can isolate islands, halt trade, and interrupt essential supply lines. Indonesia's geographic fragmentation magnifies the impact of every geological disturbance. Disasters ripple quickly across communities, connected only by sea or air travel. Some of Indonesia's deadliest volcanic hazards are invisible until too late. Lahar's fast-moving volcanic mudflows can strike long after an eruption occurs. Heavy rainfall mixes with ash deposits, creating torrents of mud and debris. These flows race down river valleys, sweeping away homes and infrastructure instantly. Communities living near volcanic slopes monitor rainfall intensely during post-eruption periods. They know lahars can be just as destructive as pyroclastic flows themselves. The danger persists long after the volcano appears calm on the surface. Earthquakes, too, vary in ways that challenge even the most prepared populations. Some quakes are sharp and sudden, lasting only a few seconds of terror. Others roll gently at first, then escalate into violent shaking unexpectedly. The unpredictability makes immediate reaction crucial, demanding practiced instinctive response. Schools, offices, and families frequently conduct drills to build automatic readiness. Disaster preparedness becomes a fundamental part of education across quake-prone regions. Children grow up understanding safe zones, evacuation points, and emergency procedures clearly. Despite widespread familiarity with danger, some events still overwhelm entire regions quickly. The 2018 Palu earthquake and tsunami demonstrated the devastating complexity of tectonic forces. A rare superstar earthquake caused ground rupture at extreme speed, surprising scientists globally. The resulting tsunami struck within minutes, leaving residents little time to flee. Liquefaction turned whole neighborhoods into flowing soil, swallowing buildings into the ground. Thousands were displaced or killed as the city faced irreversible structural destruction. Palu remains a haunting reminder of how unpredictable Indonesia's geology can be. In these moments, Indonesia's emergency responders must act under immense pressure. Search and rescue teams navigate shattered landscapes, collapsed buildings, and damaged roads. They work alongside military units, volunteers, and international partners when needed. Coordination becomes a race against time to locate survivors trapped beneath rubble. Communication systems often fail, complicating mobilization of aid and evacuation efforts. Despite challenges, responders show remarkable dedication during some of the nation's darkest hours. Their actions help restore hope and stability in the aftermath of overwhelming disaster. but disasters strain communities long after the immediate danger has passed. Rebuilding homes requires resources that many families simply do not possess. Displaced residents may live in temporary shelters for months or even years. Livelihoods vanish when farmlands, markets, and workplaces are destroyed by geological events. Children's education is interrupted, further complicating recovery for vulnerable households. Psychological trauma persists, especially for survivors who witnessed unimaginable destruction firsthand. Healing requires time, support, and resilient social networks forged through shared hardship. The government works to strengthen disaster readiness across Indonesia's vulnerable regions. Agencies collaborate to install seismic sensors, tsunami sirens, and emergency communication systems. Educational programs teach communities how to respond effectively during different scenarios. Scientists monitor volcanoes continuously, analyzing data to forecast dangerous activity. Satellite imagery, drones, and machine learning assist in assessing risk more accurately. These technologies improve preparedness, but cannot eliminate the fundamental geological dangers. Indonesia must balance scientific advancement with community-based resilience and cultural wisdom. Indonesia's location on the Ring of Fire is both a burden and an opportunity. Geothermal energy potential offers cleaner alternatives to fossil fuels for future growth. Hot springs, volcanic heat, and underground steam can power entire cities sustainably. The nation holds some of the world's largest untapped geothermal reserves today. Harnessing this energy requires investment, innovation, and long-term environmental planning. Volcanoes that threaten lives could also power millions, transforming danger into opportunity. This duality captures the essence of Indonesia's relationship with its volatile earth. Indonesia's volcanic landscapes also draw filmmakers, photographers, adventurers, and scientists worldwide. They come to witness erupting craters, glowing lava, and surreal volcanic phenomena. Places like Ijen Bromo, Kelimutu, and Krakatoa fascinate travelers with dramatic beauty. These experiences reveal nature's power, prompting deeper respect for Indonesia's geologic forces. Tourism contributes to local economies, but requires careful management for safety. Authorities monitor activity closely to protect visitors during periods of heightened danger. Nature's spectacle becomes accessible, yet must be approached with caution always. For many Indonesians, life on the Ring of Fire is defined by acceptance. Acceptance that the earth will move, roar, erupt, or shift without warning. Acceptance that beauty and danger coexist, shaping both blessings and hardship together. Acceptance that resilience is not optional, but fundamental to survival here. Communities nurture hope, even when rebuilding from ashes, debris, or fractured ground. This resilience forms the backbone of Indonesia's spirit across all its islands. To live here is to embody courage in the face of Earth's immense power. Every village, city, and island holds stories shaped by volcanic and seismic events. These stories become part of Indonesia's collective identity, binding communities together. From ancient eruptions to modern disasters, each generation gains new lessons. These lessons guide future decisions, preparation strategies, and community initiatives. The past remains a powerful teacher to those who listen closely and respectfully. In Indonesia, geological history is not distant, is continually written beneath their feet. The earth speaks, and Indonesia learns, evolves, and adapts with each passing year. Volcanoes across Indonesia are not merely threats, but powerful forces shaping landscapes and civilizations for millennia. For countless generations, eruptions built fertile soils and new landforms, creating opportunities for settlement, agriculture, and cultural development. Yet behind this natural abundance lies an unbroken chain of danger, where the balance between life and destruction can shift instantly. In the Ring of Fire, stability is temporary, because the earth moves continuously, silently, and violently beneath us. And in Indonesia, communities learn to coexist with unpredictable danger, living in a fragile harmony shaped by centuries of volcanic activity. Today, we examine what it truly means to live on this trembling frontier, where ordinary days can transform into unimaginable catastrophe, When Mount Tsunami erupted after 4 centuries of deep slumber, villagers questioned how a silent mountain could suddenly awaken again. The explanation is simple and terrifying. Volcanoes never truly die. They merely pause, waiting for pressure to reach its breaking point. Nearby villages were abandoned as residents fled ancestral lands, carrying only essential belongings and leaving behind lifetimes of memories. Ash clouds darkened the skies for days, blocking sunlight completely, forcing daily life to halt as uncertainty consumed entire communities. Eruption damage is never limited to lava or ashfall, but extends to identity, heritage, and the emotional fabric of society. For many survivors, returning home felt impossible, as the land they once trusted turned hostile without warning. Far across the archipelago, Mount Merapi commands a different reputation. Recognized as Indonesia's most active and spiritually symbolic volcano, residents often see Merapi not as a mere mountain, but as a sacred entity intertwined with cultural beliefs and ancient rites. Every year, offerings are carried up its slopes, a gesture seeking harmony between humans and the mountain's inner force. But Merapi pays no heed to rituals when pressure builds, and its eruptions can unleash devastation within minutes. The 2010 eruption stands as a grim reminder of its power, obliterating villages, reshaping rivers, and claiming hundreds of lives. Tradition offers guidance and comfort, but it cannot shield communities from the mountain's violent awakening. Yet Indonesia's greatest threat may not come from a single volcano, but from the immense megathrust system hidden beneath its oceans. Along the southern edges of Java and Sumatra, 2 giant plates collide, slowly accumulating titanic energy destined for catastrophic release. Megathrust earthquakes can generate tsunamis in mere seconds, striking coastlines with overwhelming force and leaving little room to escape. History records numerous tragedies born from this underwater collision, each reminding us how powerless humans remain against shifting Earth. Living in Indonesia means living above a colossal geological fault, one capable of reshaping entire regions without warning. For coastal communities, every rumble of the earth carries possibility, from harmless tremor to disaster capable of redefining generations. Despite these dangers, the Ring of Fire presents a remarkable paradox because it is also the source of Indonesia's extraordinary fertility. Volcanic soil rich in minerals sustains agriculture for millions, supporting rice fields, plantations, and thriving rural economies. These landscapes are breathtakingly beautiful, yet inherently unstable, a combination found in the glowing sulfur lakes and lush volcanic valleys. Such natural wonders attract visitors from around the world, bringing jobs, tourism, income, and global interest to local communities. Life, beauty, and danger become intertwined in a single frame. Capturing Indonesia's unique coexistence with nature is a fiercest forces. The same volcano that destroys villages can uplift economies, creating a complex relationship shaped by both fear and gratitude. But the future presents evolving challenges for vulnerable regions. As climate change amplifies risks linked to geological hazards, intense rainfall increases the likelihood of destructive cold lahars, sending mud flows down volcanic slopes with incredible speed. Rising sea levels worsen the impact of potential tsunamis, leaving coastal settlements exposed in ways never seen before. At the same time, global warming strains livelihoods and stability, making communities less prepared for sudden extreme disasters. Indonesia now faces threats from both sky and earth simultaneously, creating a double burden requiring innovation, resilience, and unity. Preparedness is no longer optional, but essential for survival. As nature's unpredictability grows alongside global transformation, still, local communities demonstrate extraordinary resilience and wisdom, relying on generations of knowledge passed through family traditions. Villagers near active volcanoes understand wind patterns instinctively, recognizing shifts in sulfur smells or unusual animal behaviors. These observations often save lives more effectively than alarms, because residents know their environment with unmatched familiarity. Yet modern science plays an equally crucial role today, through seismographs, satellite imagery, and early warning systems. The blend of ancestral intuition and advanced technology forms Indonesia's strongest defense against unstoppable natural forces. Collaborative preparedness creates a vital bridge between past and future, helping communities adapt while preserving their cultural identity. Ultimately, living in the Ring of Fire is not about defeating nature, but about understanding its rhythm and respecting its immense power. Indonesians learned that courage is meaningless without humility, and humility is useless without readiness for the unexpected. On this volatile frontier, every day is a silent negotiation with the earth, a negotiation that shapes destinies, cultures, and the nation itself. Indonesia does not merely survive amid the Ring of Fire. It thrives, evolves, and finds strength in the uncertainty. Here, danger becomes part of identity, and resilience becomes a defining feature of the people. Because in this archipelago, hope has always burned brighter than even the fiercest volcanic eruption. Indonesia's position on the Ring of Fire creates a continuous chain of interconnected hazards where one event can trigger another in rapid succession. A volcanic eruption may destabilize nearby slopes, leading to landslides that destroy villages down the mountain. A large earthquake may displace vast volumes of seawater, producing a tsunami that impacts thousands of kilometers of coastline. In this complex system, disasters do not occur in isolation, but as part of an enormous and unpredictable geological network. Understanding this interconnected nature is essential for predicting risks and saving lives across the archipelago. Scientists work tirelessly to map seismic zones, monitor volcanic chambers, and detect tectonic strain beneath the sea. Yet even with advanced technology and global cooperation, the Earth often reveals its power without sufficient warning. Indonesia's disaster history is filled with defining tragedies, events that shaped national policies and collective memory forever. One of the most devastating examples occurred in 1883, when Krakatoa erupted with unimaginable violence. The explosion was heard across continents, and ash circled the globe, altering temperatures worldwide. Tsunamis generated by the eruption swept away coastal villages, destroying entire communities within moments of impact. The event remains one of the deadliest volcanic disasters in history, reminding the world of Indonesia's uniquely volatile environment. In more recent memory, the 2004 Indian Ocean megathrust earthquake unleashed a tsunami that shocked the entire planet. ASC suffered the greatest devastation, as waves up to 30 meters high engulfed cities completely. More than 160,000 Indonesians were lost in a single morning, turning it into the nation's darkest natural catastrophe of the century. This tragedy transformed disaster preparedness worldwide, leading to the creation of global tsunami warning networks. But even smaller-scale hazards can inflict deep scars, especially on rural communities without strong infrastructure. Landslides triggered by prolonged rainfall can bury homes, roads, and farms within seconds. Flash floods traveling down steep volcanic slopes carry rocks, mud, and trees with unstoppable momentum. Villages built on fertile but fragile foothills often face repeated cycles of destruction and rebuilding. For many families, survival depends on ancestral resilience, not on financial resources or institutional support. Living in harmony with the land requires constant adaptation, a balance between hope, tradition, and the ever-present threat. Amid this volatile environment, Indonesia has built one of the most extensive disaster response networks in Asia. The country relies on early warning sirens, seismometers, thermal imaging systems, and real-time volcanic monitoring. Teams from local government agencies coordinate with the military, aid groups, and international partners during emergencies. Evacuation routes are mapped for each active volcano, and communities receive drills to increase readiness. Yet preparedness varies greatly between regions, with remote islands facing obstacles in communication and transport. Infrastructure gaps can slow down emergency response, making it crucial to strengthen local resilience through education. Schools, cultural leaders, and community groups play a central role in teaching children how to react. Knowledge becomes a survival tool passed through generations, empowering people to protect themselves and others when danger strikes. Economic development also depends heavily on Indonesia's geology, bringing both benefits and long-term risks to the region. Natural resources like geothermal energy offer immense potential, providing sustainable power source directly from volcanic heat. Indonesia holds some of the world's largest geothermal reserves, making it a global leader in clean, Earth-based energy production. Mining industries extract valuable minerals from volcanic deposits, contributing significantly to local and national economies. Agriculture thrives on nutrient-rich volcanic soils, supporting millions of farmers across the fertile islands. Yet reliance on these geological gifts can create vulnerability, as eruptions or earthquakes may abruptly disrupt entire industries. A single major eruption can shut down airports, halt supply chains, and force mass evacuations for months. Balancing economic growth with geological risk remains one of Indonesia's most complex national challenges. Culturally, the Ring of Fire shapes identities and belief systems, embedding nature deeply into spiritual and social traditions. Indigenous communities often view volcanoes as living guardians, protectors with personalities, emotions, and sacred significance. Ceremonies are held to honor the spirits of mountains, seeking harmony and balance rather than confrontation. Even in modern cities, people feel a spiritual connection to natural forces that influence their land and lifestyle. This cultural perspective fosters respect rather than fear, encouraging coexistence with unpredictable geological realities. Such beliefs do not replace scientific understanding, but coexist with it in a uniquely Indonesian synthesis. Together, science and spirituality create a shared resilience, uniting communities in the face of natural threats. Yet, despite awareness, preparation, and cultural adaptation, one question continues to haunt scientists around the world: when will the next major event strike Indonesia? Geologists warn that large-scale tectonic pressure is building, especially along the southern megathrust of Java and Sumatra. An eventual release could generate enormous earthquakes, similar to or even larger than those seen in past centuries. Volcanoes such as Merapi, Semeru, and Ililuatolak remain actively monitored due to frequent seismic activity. The threat is not speculative or theoretical, but an inevitable certainty shaped by Indonesia's location. The exact timing remains unknown, but the certainty of future disasters is unmistakable. For Indonesia, preparedness must remain continuous, anchored in science, community involvement, and cultural resilience. Despite the constant danger, the people of Indonesia display remarkable courage, adaptation, and determination to endure. Families rebuild homes on volcanic slopes, farmers return to their fields after ashfall, and fishermen resume sailing in seismic coastlines. Life continues not because danger disappears, but because resilience becomes a way of existence. Living on the Ring of Fire requires accepting uncertainty, but also embracing the beauty and abundance it brings. Indonesia stands as a nation forged by fire, shaped by disaster, yet strengthened by unity and hope. In this archipelago, danger and life coexist inseparably, and the human spirit continues to rise above every challenge. Because in Indonesia, resilience is not just survival, it is identity, culture, and an unbreakable promise to the future. Indonesia's place within the Pacific Ring of Fire creates a ceaseless struggle between destruction and renewal. As volcanoes erupt and tectonic plates collide beneath the archipelago, the nation constantly redefines its relationship with the natural world. Part of this relationship involves learning from every disaster, transforming past tragedies into knowledge for future generations. From Krakatoa's deafening explosion to Sinabung's persistent eruptions, each event leaves behind invaluable lessons for scientists and citizens alike. These lessons shape policies, inspire innovation, and reinforce the importance of preparedness across diverse communities. One of the most promising areas of development is Indonesia's investment in geological research and technology. Modern volcano observatories now operate around the clock, tracking seismic changes and monitoring gas emissions with precision. Satellite imagery offers real-time data on shifting landscapes, crater temperatures, and possible eruption patterns. These tools allow scientists to issue faster warnings, giving communities more time to evacuate and safeguard their families. However, even the most advanced systems face limitations because the Earth rarely behaves in predictable or linear ways. A volcano may appear calm for decades, only to unleash sudden violent eruptions without detectable signs. For researchers, forecasting natural disasters remains a challenge, requiring constant study, collaboration, and technological refinement. Alongside scientific progress, community involvement remains essential. because local knowledge often complements sophisticated monitoring tools. Villagers living near volcanoes develop intimate awareness of weather changes, ground vibrations, and unusual animal behavior. Their observations frequently provide early clues that technical instruments may not immediately detect. This fusion of modern science and ancestral wisdom creates a uniquely effective approach to disaster resilience. Programs teaching evacuation procedures and hazard recognition empower families to act quickly when danger strikes unexpectedly. Children learn where to run, what to carry, and how to stay calm during chaotic emergency situations. Preparedness becomes part of everyday life, woven into the routines of farming, fishing, and cultural traditions. Yet for millions living in high-risk zones, relocation remains one of the most challenging solutions. Many communities depend entirely on volcanic soil for survival, making farming impossible in safer but less fertile regions. Economic limitations and emotional ties to ancestral land often prevent families from leaving hazardous areas permanently. Even when provided new housing, displaced residents may return to the slopes for livelihood reasons. This complex reality highlights a national dilemma: how to protect lives without dismantling livelihoods and identity. Policies must therefore balance safety, culture, and economic necessity for vulnerable communities. The government continues exploring sustainable alternatives, including agrarian reform, relocation incentives, and job training programs. However, long-term solutions require understanding that risk cannot always be removed, only managed. Indonesia's Ring of Fire also influences migration patterns, as disasters periodically reshape where people choose to live. Major eruptions can depopulate entire regions, while rebuilt zones may later attract new settlers. Urbanization increases as rural residents seek stability, placing additional pressure on major cities across the country. Earthquakes and tsunamis can devastate coastal settlements, encouraging communities to move inland or uphill for safety. These movements alter demographics, strain infrastructure, and reshape the cultural map of the nation over decades. Decision-makers must anticipate these shifts to ensure that vulnerable populations receive adequate support. On a global scale, Indonesia plays a crucial role in advancing international understanding of geological hazards. Scientists from around the world study its volcanoes, hoping to learn more about magma systems and tectonic processes. Data shared from Indonesian observatories contributes significantly to global disaster preparedness research. Tsunamis Indonesia collaborates with regional partners on tsunami warning systems spanning the Indian and Pacific Oceans. These partnerships create a network capable of saving millions, reinforcing the value of cooperation in confronting natural threats. Indonesia's experience becomes a guiding blueprint for many nations facing similar geological risks. But despite scientific advancement and global support, the emotional toll on survivors remains a profound challenge. Disasters uproot families, destroy memories, and leave psychological scars that can last a lifetime. Many survivors experience trauma, anxiety, and fear of future eruptions or earthquakes near their homes. Rebuilding mental resilience is as important as restoring infrastructure, requiring counseling, community support, and long-term recovery programs. Healing takes time, trust, and compassion, especially for children who grow up amid recurring disasters. Communities often rely on cultural rituals and spiritual gatherings, finding comfort in collective belief and shared experience. These traditions play a vital role in recovery, helping residents regain strength and hope after tragedy. Ultimately, living on the Ring of Fire is both a privilege and a burden, offering breathtaking beauty alongside relentless risk. Indonesia's landscapes owe their existence to the same forces that threaten them: mountains, fertile plains, coral islands, and volcanic lakes are products of geological violence spanning millions of years. Without eruptions, the archipelago would not possess its richness, nor would its people inherit their remarkable cultural diversity. Thus, Indonesia embodies a profound paradox. Life flourishes because the earth is constantly in turmoil. The nation's resilience grows with each challenge, forging unity, innovation, and a deep respect for nature. And through every tremor, eruption, and tsunami, Indonesia continues to rise, fearless, watchful, and unbroken. In the heart of the Ring of Fire, the human spirit remains the strongest force of all.